In my years of pastoring, teaching the Bible, I have come across many people who have been very brutally hurt. Spiritually, they're injured, and some have even had their faith shipwrecked because of abusive leaders in spiritual environments. And in fact, oftentimes people ask a question, how do I find a good church? As though anyone's looking for a bad church. And I'm not going to give you a list of good and bad churches because I'm not the judge. What I'd rather do is to help you identify spiritual abuse. So today I'd like to look at spiritual abuse. I'd like to look at what it is and some key indications to help you identify it. This hopefully will draw your attention to some of the warning signs, and if you see it, to help you to get out of this environment if it is indeed possible. So let's look at what it is to begin. I have here spiritual environment as a definition, leaders, and by the way, abusive environments come from the leaders. Leaders who use methods to control your life to accomplish their aims. One more time, leaders who use methods to control your life to accomplish their aims. I want to distinguish here between influence, which would be the standard sort of persuasion. I use the words control in that definition. Difference in control and influence. Influence is what all of us try to do. The internet is full of people uploading information to try to persuade you. When you go to church, it's very normal for the teacher, the pastor, to try to persuade you. That's normal. We all do this. We try to persuade each other with our ideas. Big difference between that and manipulation and control. This is what I'm aiming at. Manipulation, control. This is where spiritual abuse takes place. The intent is that the leader or leadership can actually have you as a puppet on strings, or maybe for some, the illustration of a remote control is better, where on the TV remote control, you control the TV, don't you? You press the volume up, you press the volume down, you change the channels, you turn it off, you turn it on. And in this way, the manipulators and controllers in a spiritually abusive environment want to control your life so that they have the ability to get you to do what they want you to do, like a TV remote control. It's important to identify whether, if you're in an environment, is it one individual or is it the entire organization's culture that cultivates manipulation. That can be a very toxic environment if the entire organization, from the leadership, is cultivating this environment of abuse and manipulation. Or is it an individual? Make that distinction. Also, I think a question to ask is, how severe is it? And some abusive environments spiritually can be very severe. Some, I would say, less severe, although I would call all spiritual abuse severe. It's all bad, it's all destructive. It's not healthy, it's not good. But some can be very severe depending on the number of incidents, the length of time, and the severity. So for example, if it involves sexual abuse, violence, if it involves the loss of money and finance over the course of many years, very severe. The detriment upon your soul can be very bad. And if you feel like quitting, even suicidal, even if you feel deeply, deeply hurt over years of spiritual abuse, it's understandable. And even in minor cases where there's abuse spiritually, there can be a lot of pain and a lot of misery. So it's also, I think, important to identify this. And if you find yourself in a very severe or even less severe environment of abuse, it's good to get out. Why is it common in religion? Well, I think there's a very simple reason for that. Leadership affords positions of power and control. And for the spiritual environment, the problem is this. It now involves God. Now understand, I'm not saying that God is behind the abuse. I'm not saying that at all. But in the heart of genuine individuals who really want a relationship with God, when they are in an environment that is abusive, the leaders will bring God into the mix to validate to authenticate, to empower their words, their positions, their style, and their manipulation.